Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Hello, we're British Garden Centres, the largest garden centre group in the UK with 72 garden centres. From Highlygate Garden Centre in Northumberland to Havant Garden Centre in Portsmouth and Carmarthen Garden Centre in South Wales and everywhere in between. We are so excited to be the sponsor of Series 18 of the Plant-Based Podcast. We are also celebrating our 35th birthday this year as British Garden Centres was launched in 1990 in Woodthorpe, Lincolnshire by two brothers, Charles and Robert Stubbs. They started by selling hedge cuttings outside their family home and have now recently opened their 72nd garden centre in Northampton. We aim to provide you with great plants and gardening products at affordable prices with a first-class service delivered by a passionate team. Follow us on our journey on social media at British Garden Centres and find us online at britishgardencentres.com, where you can also shop online and get 10% off with the code PLANTS10. Let's keep Britain growing. Code expires on the 30th of June and gives 10% off everything excluding clearance and gift cards.
So today we have an everything plant-based episode with best-selling authors, cafe and bakery owners, recipe club creators with a 4-acre regenerative farm. We've got the Happy Pear on the podcast. David and Stephen Flynn from Ireland, the Emerald Isle, are here to chat about plant-based eating, growing, and overall health. So welcome to the podcast. We've got Stephen or David today. Because you're twins, right?
We're identical twins. We're actually mirror twins, which means the egg separated late. So technically, I'm left-handed, he's right-handed. I'm left-footed, he's right-footed, etc., etc.
So which one are you?
I never knew that was a thing.
I'm Stephen, and Dave, unfortunately, had to go off to my daughter Fia. So, here I am.
No worries.
It's nearly a better conversation with just one of us.
Well, we're going to talk to you today about plant-based diets, but I would love to talk to you about being a twin for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end we could do that. Can we?
Yeah, of course. I love being a twin.
We've got so much to talk to you about. I'm honestly going to fangirl now because I've been a follower of yours for such a long time. All of your books, like I'm a plant-based eater. Genuinely, I was like, this is cool. I'm going to absolutely love this. But for our listeners, can you tell us where the idea for the Happy Pear came from in the first place? Tell us all about it from the beginning.
Of course. Thanks a million, Ellen. Really appreciate it. So I'm Stephen Flynn, as mentioned earlier. I'm half of a twinship. My identical twin is David, and we started our business, the Happy Pear, in 2004. But we grew up in a small little town in Ireland called Greystones, right beside the sea. It's kind of nestled in amongst the Wicklow Hills, and it's a very idyllic place to live where there was a good, strong sense of community. And we grew up to kind of meathead jocks because we were 2 of 4 boys, went to all boys schools. We excelled at sport, and I guess being identical twins, you're used to competition because you've been literally competing with mother's love and father's love and attention since the moment you're born. So we kind of pursued external validation as a means of happiness. And by the time we were 18 or even 20, we were semi-pro rugby players. We were kind of off scratch at golf. We were playing baseball for Ireland. Not that that was a huge achievement, but if you played baseball on the island of Ireland, you got in the national team. And then, I guess we were pursuing happiness through others' approval. Then I never really thought about food and how it affected us. And I remember finishing university and saying to Dave, I'm going away traveling and I'm not coming back until I'm happy.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I bought a one-way ticket to Canada because we were born in Canada and had citizenship. And I went to a place called Whistler. And it was largely because when I was 16, I remember renting a VHS down in the video shop. And it was like parties and beautiful people. And I thought, wow, I want a bit of that. And they were in hot tubs and there was snow around them. And I thought, oh, yeah, that looks fabulous. And I found my way there. And I found when I was there, I happened to meet a fella who was cooking dinner. His name was Adrian, and I was chatting to him, and he was cooking things with lentils and beans and spices. And I was like, "What are you cooking? This is weird. I've never seen food like this." And he told me he was a vegetarian, and up until that point, I didn't know men could be vegetarian. I'd never met a male vegetarian or someone that even considered, their food beyond flavor and beyond calories. So this was like a revelation to me. And I asked him, could I pay my way and eat what he ate for the week? And I did. Kind of by the end of the week, it really resonated with me. And I'd kind of decided, wow, I instead of going to all these parties that I wanted to go, I found myself in the library every day reading vegetarian cookbooks and hanging out with nerds. Normally I would have been at the parties, but it's like, I want to go. I want to hang out with nerds who are into vegetables and let's talk about vegetables and cooking. And it was like a different side of myself was born. And I spent the next couple of years traveling around North America, pursuing anything weird and wonderful from, sustainable polyamorous organic communities to hitchhiking across America to wherever, anything weird and wonderful. But food was the crux of it all because many people kind of think food is just food or calories. But to me, food was one of the primary relationships we have to interact with our landscape and an opportunity to rebuild. And, a friend often says the phrase that politics starts at your plate. And to us, food was this gateway into a better way of life. And I remember calling Dave up. I was living in the south of France at the time. And I remember I'd done a week-long water fast on the island of Corsica. And I remember coming back and calling Dave up and going, Dave, I have this great idea. Like, I want to start a health food revolution. Are you up for it? And Dave, he'd come back from Mexico and he'd read Che Guevara's book and he thought, great revolution. This is amazing. We're going to wreck stuff and storm the parliament or the Dáil and do mad stuff. And I said, do you want to start a vegetable shop? And he's like, wow, that sounds pretty underwhelming, Steve. But yeah, I'm your twin. I'm up for it. So we started a Happy Pear, age 24, with a dream of creating a happier, healthier world and building community and trying to use the medium of business for social change.
That's so fascinating. Actually, I just want to go back to how you were saying that you didn't even know, a man could possibly be vegetarian, and eat plant-based. I've been vegetarian for a really, really long time, and I decided we actually done a podcast recording with Hench Herbivore. I mean, I don't even know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago now. And that kind of inspired me to take the leap into being fully plant-based. And I went home and I said to my husband, hey, I'm going to try this for 3 weeks and just see how I feel. Will you do it with me? Just because it's going to make cooking easier and shopping and stuff. And he was like, absolutely not. I'm a cyclist. He eats, did eat a lot of meat, like most meals. Absolutely. How could I possibly get all of the things that I need to be fit and healthy and active and keep my brain going and, my strength and the man thing, Anyway, I broke him down and he did decide to eat plant-based for 3 weeks. And at the end of the 3 weeks, I said, well, I'm going to carry on. I feel great. So we'll have to work out a bit of a meal thing because I don't want to cook, I don't want to have any meat. I don't want to have any dairy in the house. And he went, oh, no, I'm not going back. This is excellent. And he's still now 8 years later. So,
8 years.
Yeah. So, it's just funny how society has made, you feel, especially men. I don't know what you think, Michael, that eating, how could you possibly not eat meat and survive as a man,
But I think also, the definition of being a man has changed at the same time in society, which has been a really great thing as well, kind of in terms of mental health, kind of abilities, kind of different sexualities as well. So kind of this is all combined in a really nice way to make the world more open to change, I guess, really. But we want to talk we want to really dig into, we love a pun, to kind of the vegetable world as well, because it seems quite obvious that we should eat more vegetables, but you've got a bit of science behind that, haven't you? you've done a lot of research into this when you
Yeah,
started on your veg journey.
yeah, I guess it started out with us personally, and that was 25 years ago where I met that guy that was vegetarian first. And it was largely because we grew up in a small little, Ireland, and it was pre-social media, and there was even around when I was growing up. Like there was a dial-up modem that if anyone was on the phone, you couldn't use. So
Oh yeah.
information didn't travel as quick, and it was a lot more parochial, or a lot more, you rarely went beyond the parish to say it Irish. So it really was. I don't think it was necessarily about masculinity. I think it was just we lived in a small little town and people didn't eat that way. Ate what your forefathers or foremothers ate. But in terms of, you asked about kind of why eat more plants and the science behind it. Back about 10, maybe 15 years ago now, we were doing kind of cooking classes above our veg shop. We had the cafe next door and we had a restaurant upstairs. And like people would regularly come in and they'd hand you a squash and go, what the hell is this? How do I cook this? And you tell them how to cook it. So after a while, we thought, geez, this revolution, we really need to teach people how to cook with vegetables, if we're going to get them to eat more of these things. So we started kind of doing cookery classes, and they were great and people had a laugh. But we found people weren't necessarily making any considerable changes beyond, the odd lentil dish, or they might cook some sweet potato, etc. So I remember Dave at the time, I think I was working in the kitchen and Dave was in the veg shop, and a lady came in and said, I lost 2 stone on Weight Watchers. And Dave was like, wow, people love measuring their improvement in their health, like that they could quantify it. So it was like, how can we come up with a course, Dave or Steve, that has quantification in it? So he thought, great, I'm reading this book by this doctor in America. And this is like pre-Netflix documentaries. I don't think Netflix was even a thing in Ireland back then. And Dave kind of said, I wonder, could we do this experiment, like what the doctor did with American people? Would it work in Ireland, above the veg shop? So we went down to the local doctor, knocked on his door. It was Brennan Cuddy, and said, how are you, Bren? We're the lads from Happy Pear. We want to reverse heart disease. Are you in? And he said, I'm too busy, lads. Go talk to Angela next door. She was the nurse. So we asked Angela, are you up for it? We're going to reverse heart disease. It's going to be incredible. Are you in? And we were expecting her to go, oh my God, lads, this is the dream I've always been waiting for. And she kind of stood there looking like, what? And we said, okay, we'll pay you 50 quid. And she said, I'm in. So we said, great. So we put posters up around, this is pre-social media. So we put posters up on a lamppost and the notice board in the Happy Pear. And we took out a little ad in the parish bulletin because it had the biggest reach in the community saying, reverse heart disease, skinny, sexy, free. 4-week course above the Happy Pear, and 20 people signed up. And they weren't people who were interested in health. They were largely just normal Irish people who were mildly curious as to what the hell we were up to. They came along the first night, and Angela, who was literally down the back of the veg shops, nestled in amongst the cabbages. She measured people's weight, blood pressure, and pinprick cholesterol. So we'd starting measurements. They came up to us and we put them on a whole food plant-based diet with a low fat content for 4 weeks. And in essence, it was a cooking class and taste and things, because people, what the hell we were cooking. This was a good while ago, but people quite enjoyed the food. And they'd start off the first night with their arms closed and highly suspicious and really skeptical. And slowly, as he started passing around food, it became a bit of a laugh, and it wasn't preachy. It was kind of inclusive. People opened up, and it was good crack, as we'd say in Ireland. Crack meaning fun, not the other type of crack. 4 weeks later, we were back doing the course again for results night. And I remember being quite nervous, thinking to Dave that if this doesn't work, this is all going to be a fraud, and what we're doing here is totally wrong. And I remember feeling really genuinely frightened. And the results came out, and it was like a Walt Disney classic. There was an average drop of cholesterol of 20%. Everyone lost weight, blood pressure regulated, and there was an average drop, as I said, cholesterol of 20%, which is something that, pharmaceutical drugs can barely achieve this. And the byproduct was extremely positive. So after that, we did a few more courses, and the national papers started writing articles. And then before the course got way too busy, and then we built an online course. And then I guess we've been doing it for 10, 12 years. And we partner with various medical professionals, from cardiologists, gastroenterologists, gynecologists, urologists, neurologists, to develop courses, all to show the simple things of lifestyle changes and the benefits it can have on your health. And we probably had over 100,000 people.
Sorry, I absolutely love the idea that you're like helping or curing heart disease even from this lovely small community town in the Emerald Isle. I think it's amazing what you can
This
do.
sounds like a Netflix serial, to be honest.
Yeah.
Should be. You should pitch it, dude, honestly.
Netflix producers who are listening to this podcast, look, here's your guys for a
Or a documentary, at least. Yeah.
It's been a fun adventure, really, really fun adventure. It's like, as kind of saying there, we've probably had over 100,000 people, and people they could have gut issues, they could have skin issues, they could have, on YouTube, some of our best performing videos are natural Viagra videos. And we kind of found out quickly that a lot of men who are struggling with erectile dysfunction, ED, they typically go onto YouTube for anonymous searches looking for solutions. So as a result, we ended up partnering with a urologist. He literally wrote the book called The Penis Book. He is a cock doc, and he flew over from California. Yeah, literally. And we filmed a course called...
I just need a minute on that.
yeah, I know. And we filmed a course with him, which we haven't quite released yet because we just haven't found the right angle on it. But we called it the Happy Hard On, and it's helping men with erectile dysfunction reverse, because it's a growing issue that 20% of men in their 20s, 30% of men in their 30s, 40% of men in their 40s, 50% of men, and it goes on. And these are rough statistics, but they're pretty accurate. That it is huge issue, and men typically don't get into the pub chatting to their mate, hey, I'm struggling with ED, what do you reckon? It's something that it's very there's a lot of shame attached to it. So we haven't quite released, but we developed a course anyway a couple of years ago with Dr. Aaron Spitz, who's a urologist, showing that through diet you can improve blood flow and massively improve your ED.
Well, I'm just going to put this out there that my husband has no problems and he's plant-based. So there you go.
There you go.
I got Ellen.
Good to hear.
But, can I just ask a little bit more before we move on about the course? So it's giving people a diet plan, but it's also giving them some fitness suggestions, or has it got kind of any other elements to it, or is it just the diet?
Yeah, we've realized our expertise is diet, and as a result, we partner with dietitians or medical experts or doctors or etc. But in essence, it's to hold people's hands, because any lifestyle change is complex. Sometimes it's people are socially isolated. Sometimes people need community support through a change. Sometimes it's people. There are many gateways to health, whether it be exercise, whether it be more time outside. Suddenly, it could be you're sleeping better, and suddenly you're sleeping better, and then you want to eat better. So we're inherently complex creatures, and we're all slightly unique and different. And I think this one size fits all thing, I don't think can work all the time. We got to somewhat cater to our individuality and our unique obscurities and our idiosyncrasies. But we find community to be a wonderful thing. And in modern day society, we're wonderful at connecting digitally, but I think we're social creatures, and community is something that can bring us joy, happiness, acceptance, and help us, lift us up when we're feeling down. So we find community really important.
Totally. The RHS done some research some years ago about, they discovered the 3 pillars of good wellness. And one of the 3, it's physical wellness, mental wellness, and social wellness. And the social wellness is linked to community, having friends and family, having a local community that you get together with, not having loneliness, that kind of thing. So this all comes into the bundle that the Happy Pear, the two of you put out there, isn't it? And I guess your cafe is probably a lovely place where people meet and talk and eat as well. But you've also got your regenerative farm, haven't you? Is that where all the produce comes from for your cafe? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so our business is multifaceted, and I guess it's because we're both curious, and both being me and Dave, and the business has gone from me and Dave to where there's probably about 100 people with us now. But we have a 4-acre organic regenerative farm, and having a vegetable shop for over 20 years now, I guess we learned a lot about vegetables and being chefs. You've learned how to cook with vegetables and, working with growers over the years, we've learned a lot about vegetables. But having a farm, our own piece of land that we're literally growing and putting our hands in the soil every week, we are learning more than I could possibly ever imagined. How little I know. And it's like, I guess we've always realized that the food we eat is like a vote for the world we want to have. And nowadays, our food industry is incredible at delivering calories. It's incredibly efficient. It's remarkable, but often at the expense of our environment, and often it doesn't necessarily favor good nutrition because. For example, I can go to the supermarket and say Super Value in Ireland, and there's two different bags of carrots. There's organic and there's non-organic. And a friend, Dan Kittredge, has developed a tool known as a spectrometer, and I could measure the nutrient density of both carrots. And typically, both will come up like about a 5 out of 10 because there's no real way of knowing which vegetable has more nutrition than other while looking in the outside, because virtually all nutrition comes from the soil. So our farm is all focused on trying to grow the most nutrient dense food possible. And the only way we can do that is by growing the most biodiverse and alive soil as possible. So we're really loving it. We're trying to use some degree of technology. We're using a refractometer to use the scale of Brix to measure the plant's ability to photosynthesize and turn sunlight into carbohydrate to feed the microbes in the soil. And then we're using an EC meter to measure the soil conductivity. In essence, it's a means of measuring the microbial activity in the soil. So we're really having fun and really enjoying. Geez, you got a great head of hair, Michael. Fair play to you. That looks great.
Sorry.
Look at that. What a great. He's there in the sun, and wow, look at that. That's a great old mane you got there. Sorry, excuse my interruption there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you with my hair.
That was beautiful. For anyone listening, Michael has this big, great fringe. It looks fabulous.
I don't know what's going on with your hair, Michael. Are you having it trimmed, or are you planning on being
No, I like it on, to be honest. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. There's a lot of hair.
I push it over that way. But today I've got a cap, so sorry I revealed it.
No, that's great.
Sorry, when we first started, before we were recording, we were talking about ingrown toenails, and now we're on to hair. Can you just give us a little idea for listeners who don't know what regenerative farming is? Like, what actually is that, please?
Yeah, so most people will be familiar with organic is, and organic will be, the absence of pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, etc. So you're kind of trying to work with nature, and regenerative is you're trying to regenerate the biodiversity within the ecosystem. And in essence, a lot of modern day farming, or what's deemed conventional farming, often can put artificial fertilizers. It can use pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, which typically aren't working with the ecosystem. And if you look at the most brilliant ecosystems, they're the most diverse. It's where diversity thrives. And what we're trying to do is create an ecosystem that really works with nature, mimics nature, and fosters more biodiversity. So when you go there, it's just alive, and it's a place where you feel at ease. Regularly, I go up to the farm and I might be busy, or, trying to get stuff done, and I got a tight deadline and I'm trying to squish it in, and I open the car door and I stand out and you hear the birds singing and you hear some insects come by, and you're suddenly like, all is well in the world. And I think putting hands in the soil, and just even what we wanted the farm to do is to connect, like create an environment and a model where others can copy, and to connect our community to its food source. Because nowadays you can get, like, the food system's incredible. You can get food from all over the world, but often getting something local and in season and knowing where your food comes from can really deliver a huge amount of health. And it can really, even back a couple of weeks ago, we had 120 kids from the local school up to the farm, and just showing them around how food like beetroots grow, or what does fennel look like, or harvesting purple sprouting broccoli, or planting peas and taking them home. It was so exhilarating and so exciting and so much fun. And you realize, wow, like food is something that connects us to the landscape, and what we eat literally rebuilds our body. And Having this proximity to our food, I believe it's extremely nourishing for all humans. And we really want this farm to connect our community. Like half of all the produce from the farm goes to the cafe, and pretty much half of all the produce we use in the cafe comes from our farm. And similarly, we sell in the shop. So it's cool. And we try to get as many people.
It's cool.
I love that.
Whereabouts?
The seasonal side of growing is what's really important, because when you go to the supermarket, you really only have one or two choices of each fruit or vegetable, and you can get each of those choices all year round. So it's like you can't. We don't harvest strawberries in December, or in the UK we don't, and so therefore strawberries must have come from somewhere else, or perhaps been farmed somewhere. They're always from overseas. So like understanding the seasonality of eating and food, that's got to be good for intrinsically linked to our health and being. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If squash only grow at a certain time of year, I believe that's because that's when we are meant to be eating squash. Do you know what I mean? For our health and wellness. So kind of understanding that link with the seasons, because we don't. I had some guys come out to film on my allotment some years ago, and I was growing some cabbages, right? And it was I think they were probably spring cabbages at the time. We were filming, and I was talking about it, and he was like, "What's that?" And I was like,
oh my God, yeah.
Cabbage. And he was like, oh, I didn't know that's what they look like. Because
It's mad, isn't it?
he would always buy, for example, like mine, as far as I remember, was like a big Savoy cabbage with the lovely wrinkly leaves. And he would buy those tight little cabbages from the supermarket all year round, that have come from all the places. And he was like, oh, I didn't really know that that's what cabbage looked like. So when you're gardening and you're really connecting with the seasons and what grows in each kind of season, and seeing all of the amazing varieties of all the different fruit and veg that you can grow, I think that just really links you, first of all, to the land, what you were saying, but secondly, to understand how food is processed across the world. And it's shocking, when I go into
and how it often doesn't look like food.
Shops, like I'm like, wow, like everyone's been eating these perfect tomatoes that don't taste of anything whatsoever, and their whole lives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But grow them organically at home, and it doesn't matter what shape they are. And there's like, oh my God, I don't know, like hundreds of different varieties and colours and flavours, So what you're doing is amazing, because it's connecting people to food. So not just to the food that they eat and the nourishment in their bodies. And I just think is so important to me, and it's so important going forward with climate change, with health, with all of the things. And you were way ahead of like that trend. 2004, did you say? I think so. I think it's really awesome what you do and how you link that to community as well. Like that's key, I think, to all of the things you've spoken about.
Yeah, the only even if you think down to flavor, like pre-industrial revolution, like the way nature, like so. Beneath our noses, we all have a wonderful organ about half the size of our fist, and that's known as your olfactory glands. And pre-industrial revolution, the way nature dictated that food was high in nutrition was that it was high in flavor. And like when fruits were ripe, their sugars were more available. When vegetables were full of nutrition, they tasted better. And that was the way nature encouraged us to always, improve, evolutionary evolve. But industrial revolution, now we've managed to isolate sugars and fats and make food taste artificially remarkable. But ultimately, food that is high in flavor, like natural food such as fruits and vegetables, means that it's high in nutrition. So we're really focused on trying to grow food that is impactful in nutrition. So it's like, and that only comes from having healthy soil. And soil typically will have a similar degree of microbial activity as the human gut. Like it's almost like the micro and the macros reflect one another. And if we do want healthy soil, it's all about fostering diversity. And right now, much of farmland is low in minerals. So we're really focused. Every time we go to plant, we will put some sea salt on the bed. Then we'll take some ground up rock dust. We found at the moment for our land, ground up basalt, because all rocks come from, all minerals come from rocks. So we're putting basalt down. Recently, we've been developing a spring amendment mix where we're mixing kelp, alfalfa meal, some humates in there, all with the ability to remineralize the soil. So the soil has more nutrition, the microbes have more nutrition and more access to food. So hence our food will ultimately more nutrition. So it's really fun.
Yeah, that's
It's
really cool.
amazing.
Yeah,
Honestly,
people forget that it all comes from the soil first.
Yeah.
It's an important thing. Without the soil, we don't have good food.
And eating in season is something that, when we first started the veg shop 20 years ago, we used to sell 10 kilo bags of potatoes. People would buy cabbages. They knew what beetroots are. They used to buy Swede turnips. They used to know what a white turnip was. And most weeks we would be having to take home some wrinkly peppers and aubergines and lemongrass and ginger because people didn't buy them. They didn't know what the hell they were. But nowadays, we don't sell potatoes by the 10 kilo bag. People used to, like back when we started first, they'd know Kerpinks are in season. Do you have any Maris Pipers or do you have any Golden Wonders? These were the varieties of potatoes that would be really flowery or it'd be a good chipping potato or it'd be a dry potato. Whereas nowadays, people come in, do you have any washed potatoes? And this isn't saying people are bad, but just society as a whole has detached from the seasonality and the local varieties that have evolved around our landscape. And we do eat in season. There's a celebration. Like I know courgettes on the farm, we're planting them out in the next week or two. And in 4 weeks, we will have the first of the courgettes. And for anyone from North America, you know them as zucchini. But like the first of the courgettes are succulent. They're soft, sweet. Like they're slightly yellowy inside. And they are like, there's such joy they bring. And then courgettes are there. And in the middle of the harvest, like there's just courgettes everywhere. And you're like, I feckin' hate courgettes. Show me another courgette and I'll like throw it at you. And by the time the season ends, you're like, oh, I miss courgettes. And then you don't have courgettes for like 8 months. So by the time they do come back in, you're really, really excited. And I think seasonality, it's like when you eat a bar of chocolate, the first square is always the best and the last one is always the best. In the middle, it's kind of average. And I think seasonality creates those edges. It creates those boundaries. And if you look to nature, most biodiverse aspects of nature are the boundaries, the edges. It's where the river meets the bank or the bank meets the meadow meets the forest. These areas are the most diverse. And I think eating in season, there's naturally more boundaries and there's more, to me, it leads to a richer life. You're normally eating local, which is grown at its peak, which it hasn't been stored for months or even years. And typically it's healthier for you and supports a healthier.
But it's even about being in touch with the seasons, not even through what you eat, but what you know is in flower and stuff like that. I've got some friends that are so disconnected with nature. Like for me, if you were to drop me somewhere, I could tell what season I was in by the flowers that were out. But some people just got no awareness. And yesterday, this is just the whole thing that people aren't in touch with the natural world. Like I was showing a friend around Kew Gardens and she didn't know that there were other pollinators than bees. So you thought bees are just the pollinators. It's just this understanding of the natural world is such a basic level. There's so much more. And once you dig in, it's so bloody exciting as well. Do you know what I mean?
Totally, but it's hard. It's hard because we live in this world where we're taught to, to read and write and to, consume so much content digitally. And it's amazing and it's really intoxicating. Whereas if you think about it back, hundreds of years ago, we used to know to read the landscape. We'd know, when you see a dandelion is an indicator. It's got a deep taproot. So the role a dandelion typically has is it's breaking up compact soil. If you see thistles typically are detoxifying. They're a sign of detoxification. If you see gourd, typically it's protecting small little trees so that like the likes of deers can't come and eat them. So like we used to know how to read the landscape, but nowadays, all of us, me included, we're so detached and we live these, very privileged, comfortable lives, but often at the expense of our connection with the natural world. It's hard because the modern world is highly intoxicating too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading a book called dopamine, which is how people now get their dopamine and like being addicted to the modern world. But the natural high is understanding nature. That's how you will naturally feel good. So, and it is so hard because of marketing and, education. But this is why it's really important that, you do what you do and hopefully we do what we do, trying to inspire people just to enjoy plants in any way that they possibly can. So thank you for that. I was going to say something else, something about trees, but I completely forgot. Oh, and also there was a study about plant blindness. So there was a small study where they asked people who were, in an urbanish environment, saying, in this moment, what can you see? And almost everybody replied cars, phones, people, pavement, buildings, but no one said trees, dandelions, not the sky, clouds. No one said anything natural. Almost everyone noted all of the surrounding modern world, and they said it was plant blindness. And I thought, how sad you are blind to plants, because aren't they just so beautiful?
Oh, yeah. Like nowadays we live in a world where it celebrates, success and our ability to be productive, and it's only when you go to nature that you realize nature kind of accepts you for who you are. Like, it's rare that you go up to an apple tree and it says, "No, you're not worthy enough to get an apple." It's like, it just gives it to you. And I think if anyone listening is feeling stressed or overwhelmed or, disconnected, I think spending time in nature is one of the greatest ways to balance our biology and to help us relax and to help us become more human being as opposed to human doing.
Yeah,
I got one more example before we move on with the next question. In a kind of friend chat group I was in the other day, someone said, "I've got loads of worms in my soil. Is that bad?" I'll leave that with you for a minute. But it's like that example of disconnection. But I want to talk to you about you guys have written a lot of books. And tell us about the books. I think you've got a new book out as well. But I'm wondering as well, you seem to know so much about the soil. Have you ever written about the soil and the good of growing, or are they recipe books? What type of books have you got in your portfolio?
Yeah, we've written 7 books, of which, thankfully, thanks to anyone, they've all been bestsellers. And our most recent one it's celebrating 20 years in business. And it was like, you could probably relate to, growing up, we used to get the Dandy and the Beano, the annuals. And they were these, when you didn't know them, you'd open them up and there'd be something interesting in every page. And they were kind of like scrapbook type things, and you'd read them throughout the year, and even ones that were like 5 years old, you could still leaf through and find them interesting. This is pre-internet for anyone who's thinking I'm sounding really, really weird, but we wanted this book to be, it was celebrating 20 years, and the Happy Pear is so much more than just food. It's about community, it's about health, it's about happiness, it's about connection, it's about nature. And so we wanted this book to obviously include, like, we've probably written thousands and thousands of recipes at this stage, but we wanted to include 100 of our favorite and best recipes, but to create, things about like the learnings we've had, how our views on health have changed, where it's a book that it has a feeling attached. It's a book that you kind of want to carry around with you because, it makes you feel good, in essence, because it's a book that was filled with hope and with connection, and that was more than just a book. So, we're really proud of it and we love it, and it's called the Happy Pear 20.
I love that. It's so important to bring hope, I think, especially at the moment. There's so many things going on in the world that it's just step outside and read one of your books, obviously. Grow some
You don't have to do that, but step outside, definitely.
Tips and recipes by the Happy Pear. You've said so many things that you do, like with the cafe and writing and the farm and everything. You've got so many things going on. How do you personally find balance in your life? And do you have any tips or, listeners who are juggling, multiple passions or businesses?
Yeah, I think for, life is challenging and life is amazing. For me, I swim in the sea every day at sunrise, and it's something that is kind of, I don't have to think about it. It's just something that I do, and it helps me connect to the seasons and helps me connect to remind me of my own insignificance, because most mornings I get down there and I don't want to get into the sea because it's cold and it's, as we'd say here, it's manky. And it's like, it's freezing, and the last thing you want to do is strip off and get into that cold Irish sea. But, having done it so many times, like when I get into the water, strips away kind of my fears, and suddenly there's adrenaline, and suddenly you're reminded how or at least I'm reminded how part of this amazing world that I am, and how when I come out, it's almost like I've bathed in gratitude, that it almost like I can appreciate warm clothes, and I can appreciate feeling safe, and I can feel, there's this feeling of joy that releases almost this childlike wonder in me. So I do that, and that really helps me connect with nature. And for anyone listening who doesn't live near the sea or the ocean or whatever you call it, could even be going for a walk in the tree, like in the forest or the woods, or it could be dipping your head in cold water if you really want to do that. But it's, to me, what the sea represents is to remind me to connect with nature and remind me that we're part of this wonderful, magical world that's so much bigger than our mortgages and our problems and our worries and our stresses. And that when I spend time in nature, I'm reminded that life is wonderful and it's beautiful. So I do that. I've eaten a plant-based diet myself for about 25 years, and I'm not suggesting anyone should be vegan or vegetarian. These words often divide and exclude people, but the research is pretty clear that if you look to the blue zones, which are some of the longest living populations on the planet, the majority of their diet is based on whole plant foods. So we live in a society now, at least in the UK, 55% of all calories are ultra processed foods, maybe 30 to 35% are animal foods. And typically it's around 10% are only whole plant foods. So what I'm saying here is to try to eat a lot more whole plant foods, because they're high in fiber. And in the UK, 9 out of 10 people don't get the recommended daily intake of fiber. And fiber you'll only find in fruit, veg, beans, legumes, nuts and seeds and whole grains. So to try to eat a little bit more whole foods is extremely beneficial for your own health and the health of the microbes in your gut, where 70% of your immune system exists. So to try to eat more fiber is a good one. And other ones like community is something that is at the center of my world. And, even for anyone listening who is an introverted, community could mean spending time with animals. Community could be spending time in nature, but we're social creatures. And it doesn't mean that you have to be best friends with everyone, but even, do you say hello to your post lady or postman? Do you say hello to the person that makes your coffee? Little things like this are known as social integration, and they give you a sense of social cohesion. It's often said, like, who do you share good times as well as bad times with? Who can you turn to at a time of crisis? These are little things that are important, and they give a sense of security and give kind of a foundation for a good life. So I think community, we live in a society that celebrates wealth and success and progress, but to me, a rich life is a life in friendship and people that look out for you. I think they're more things that are important to me.
Yeah, I love
No, that sounds great. So many great take homes from today's episode. Honestly, amazing. Where could listeners find out more about you? You've got a website, plant-based shop. You've got Instagram. Kind of like, what are your main channels that you want to?
The
This is
Happy
where you can
Pear,
put your advert in.
kind of our business. So wherever you consume content, that, or even come visit, come join us for a swim at sunrise anytime, or come visit the farm, or you can connect with us digitally if you want via website or social media. But come visit us if you want to. Come hang out. Like, for real. I'm just saying that.
Whereabouts is the farm, by the way?
The farm is, so we're based in Greystones, County Wicklow, Ireland, and the farm is about 4 kilometres from that. So it's pretty close. Okay. It's about a 15-minute walk, maybe an 8-minute cycle from the cafe. And it's
my family live in Wexford, so I'm from County Cork.
Right. Come visit.
That's amazing. Although, honestly, a sunrise swim for me, I would be at my most grumpy ever. I'm not a morning person.
You might be surprised when you get up and you're nervous and you're kind of, afraid. Like, everyone, no matter whether you're a king or a queen or a pauper or a bin person, you stand in a pair of togs and you're all afraid. You're all afraid. And then when you come out, you're exhilarated because you got over here. And it's amazing how it's something so simple and basic, but it can literally deliver you great joy every day. Like,
you have
every
to
day
do it now, Melon.
Yeah, every day I'm amazed.
I might take you up on it. You never know.
I challenge you.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, you just challenged me. I'll see you.
If you're up for it, Ellen.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been really interesting. Love what you do. I think our listeners will too. Loads of take homes. Basically, eat as many plants as you can, get in the sea at sunrise, and connect with your community, season, and lots of veg.
Yeah, thank you.
And also buy the Happy Pear books, obviously.
We're going to visit and we're going to get Ellen in the sea. She deserves it.
Great. Deal. I love it. Love it, love
In
it.
the sea. Wasn't that some kind of weird meme once or something where they kept saying,
You are the meme, babe. You are the meme.
the meme. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks,
See you
Ellen.
later.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It's so cute.
Are you actually recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, we're recording.
You need to record your gossip.
Sorry, I have to behave. No.
Jet lag is not an excuse, Ellen Mary.
Jet lag's an excuse for
And also,
everything.
an excuse is not having just had a long boy. Anyone that doesn't know a long boy, get yourself to Cold Drop Yard in King's Cross, because it is a long donut.
It's a long donut.
It's a long donut.
Not a long boy.
It's a long donut. Which is fantastic. And we've just been having a scintillating conversation, which is quite unique for us, about... Oh, sorry, I moved it so close, I was going to kiss you.
I don't really know what's happening here.
I'm so sorry.
When we started, you were laying
Is this
down.
benchy slippery?
And I was going to say you're like a long boy, and then suddenly your face is way too close.
But we were just having a little chat about offline things. I was talking about Offline Club, which is something I discovered recently, which is where you go, you have a little evening without your phone, and you lock it away. I actually went to one on a Sunday, which was part of a zine club where you make up these little kind of scrapbooky things.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. But I have to say, making up the zine meant it was good for mindfulness because you're really in that moment, but you didn't really talk to other people because you're kind of so in the moment. And, we had serrated scissors.
I guess they'll do different things. So sometimes you might be with other people more, but it's like that whole antidote to being in the modern world. This is really weird. You're moving the phone around all like weird in my face. I can't handle it.
Ooh.
It's just really strange. I don't know what's happening.
And then Ellen Mary then suggested something else that she'd seen, which is called the Urban Choir. Over to you, Ellen.
So I think it started in New York, and the guy just has a warehouse or picks warehouses and puts his email out. You can go and you just sing. So you'll get a piece of paper, he plays the music, and you can just sing your heart out. So it doesn't really matter if you are great at singing or not, because there's so many people there, and the acoustics are amazing. And then I saw one where everyone was lying down singing, another one where you just walk around. So you just walk around as you're singing. So you don't have to just stand and sing. You can just walk like in and out of people. It was so cool, and I'm definitely going to do that.
That's super
But
cool.
I love how there's lots more of these kind of clubs and ideas of people trying to get
offline
stuff and crafts and all kinds of things. And ultimately what we were saying is that the actual antidote to the modern world is nature and gardening, isn't
totally.
it? And we're sitting here outside.
But you know something that I find quite mindful, and you're probably going to laugh now, having my hair cut.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Because when you have your hair cut, you're not on your phone or anything.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like some people are, which I find really weird. But also, I'm about to go to Face Gym, and also that's a nice kind of like switch offy moment as well.
Yeah.
But no, I also went to back to the Offline Club. I went to one that was watching the sunset in Primrose Hill. Yeah, which was like about 1,000 people with a kind of like switching their phones off. Obviously there we didn't put them all in a box because that would be a security risk. But no, it was pretty cool actually. But then you had this lovely view of London, but then we realised the sunset was behind us, which was quite funny. But anyway, it was nice. And it kind of like, initiates you just talking to other people and meeting in ways that are not online, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
It always surprises me now how pretty much everyone who I know, especially younger people maybe, meet their partners online.
Yeah.
Even that
so
is an
normalised,
online
isn't it?
thing.
Which is kind of, coming into it as a GAY, it was normal for us to do that. So it's quite nice that you lot have caught up.
You lot. I've never been on a dating app in my life.
Have you not?
No, because when I first started seeing my husband, there wasn't there weren't even.
In the 60s.
In the 60s. Stop it! I hadn't even had a mobile phone very long. Like it was so long ago. I don't know, 25 years or so ago. So I've literally never been on a dating app.
I see.
No, I have no idea how they work. It scares me. I've realised that I am that old.
Oh no.
that I genuinely don't know what a dating app
Bless
is
you.
like.
We're talking of dating. Like, we're actually at Cold Drops Yard recording this before. We've just had a lovely little lunch. We're going to an event by Gardena tonight.
Yeah.
The reason I was just going, oh my gosh, is because there's a lot of fit boys walking past. I know you're immune to it. You never notice any fit boys, honestly. Like you've had something removed.
Literally, I'm more likely
Your fit by radar
I'm
is just
more
on the
likely
blink.
to look at girls and see what they're wearing.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm more likely.
Because you're a judgy girl. That's why.
Because I love to because get the ideas. Like this girl just walked past, and I really liked her long trousers. I'm more likely to. I do sometimes if I see someone and they've got
it's
lovely
easier in
hair.
America, isn't it?
I say, "Oh, I love your hair." Or, where do you get your trousers from? I'm more likely to see that than a fit guy.
Bless you.
Weird or what? Oh, and dogs. I'll always notice dogs.
Aha, okay, that's cool. What about plants? There's a fit plant.
Yes, fit plants. And
Journeyman full card, we can see it. I'm sure it is. Always golden. What's that going to be? Yarrow?
And this is
Achillea? Is it Miscanthus? There's blobs. Oh, Sanguisorba.
Sanguisorba fruit.
That's cool. Oh my god. Persicaria, yeah, the bastard. It's everywhere already, look. But the planting's lovely here, and we want to remind you, dear listeners, that we were actually pioneers of recording at Cold Drops. We were coming here like when it was first built.
There was no one here when we first came here.
2018 or something.
We came here, we walked around, the planting was really cool. We were admiring some urban planting.
There's
there was
hardly any shops.
Here.
Yeah. But now the world and his wife is here.
That's lovely.
And their nephew.
And their dog. It's a nice sunny day and people are actually sitting outside. I can see someone.
People are like being a bit extreme with the heat.
I can see someone there who's taken their shoes off and got their feet on the grass. Which is really nice. It's lovely to see.
I can't do that with my dodgy nail.
No, me too. We both have dodgy toenails.
I'm sure we bored them with that before.
I think we did as well.
We were in our toe era.
Although, to be fair, you were saying that people are going a bit over top for the sunshine.
Yeah, I know, like with wet flannels on their heads. Jesus,
it's not that hot.
It's only 15 degrees, but sunny. Do you know what I mean?
Not hot.
Like, the minute you're not in the sun, that flannel's not going to help. Do you know what I mean?
I might, when you go to face gym, I might lay on that grass and just go to sleep. Just come back and nudge me when you're done.
That's cute. Oh, by the way, you're in front of me. Why are you in front of me?
Hi. I was going to say, are we also in similar?
I don't mean that, but why are you here? Why are you not on Zoom?
Is it weird to you that I'm here? No, actually, there's a screen between.
Not until I realised, actually. Oh God, that's very COVID, isn't it?
This is 2025. I landed yesterday. And
I've still got jet lag.
And I'll have it for about 2 days. But last night I met a friend and we had cocktails, so I do have a little bit of that.
Yes, the minute I heard that, I was like, no sympathy then.
But add jet lag to hangover.
Are you going to your allotment?
Oh, I really do feel tired. Huh?
Are you going to your allotment?
Well, I will, yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah.
Oh, it will be fine.
Yeah.
No,
I wasn't worried about it. I was just thinking about it. It will be fine.
People always
I love that, Ellen. That's what you always do. You always answer the question after the one I've asked. Honestly, you told me your mum does that, didn't you? Because
you're turning into my mum.
I know, because you answer a question, but it's like the one that I'm about to ask, and it's just like you're asking it already just to like cover yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, you're so efficient. You're gonna like bump into yourself going the other way. Honestly.
I time travel, that's what I do.
But you look really nice today, and I did tell you as well.
Thanks.
Even though you're not a stranger on the tube.
I appreciate that.
Oh, bless you.
I had to put a shirt on because we're going out tonight. So I thought I'd better just actually try to dress up the clothing that I carry in my rucksack when I travel back.
I'm in a silk shirt from Cambodia.
That's nice.
It's nice, isn't it?
I'm in a silk shirt, not from Cambodia.
Oh, that's cool. But I don't know if maybe you have one button undone too many.
I can see your hairy chest. There's a lot of hair.
I got people to impress tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you know who's going?
No.
Oh.
I want to impress everyone. You know. Ellen, fit boy alert. Don't look.
Are you serious? You're telling me there's a fit boy but I can't look?
Well, yeah, but don't shout it out as well.
Oh. Okay, well, okay.
You're more into grunge boys, I know.
I am more into grunge.
What's happening? Is your balcony self-watering? What are you doing? Have you got any bulbs on there?
Husband's still home. Daffodils, tulips, alliums, actress, lilies.
My God, Leatrice. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're quite early, really.
Oh, I think it's weeks earlier there than it is here, for sure. Like the lilies will be blooming probably in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, the rascals.
Yeah.
But also, I remember at Bridgewater, the Leitris were like 5 foot tall.
Wow.
It was bizarre.
Yeah, wow, amazing.
I don't know if it's a different type of what, but it's a wildflower, isn't it, in the US?
It's a native. Well, there's a variety which is a native.
Yeah. Do you ever see it in the wild?
I've never seen it in the wild.
That'd be so cool to see something that's very herbaceous perennial in a border.
I haven't seen it in the wild.
Because my grandma used to grow it. Yeah.
But people do grow it in their gardens, and I've got it on the balcony, and the butterflies love it, pollinators love it, and I can tell the weather's getting better because our little lizards are back.
Oh, that's cool.
Well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's all alive, but my husband's still there, so he's watering.
Cute. So what are you up to next week then? You'll be allotmenting?
And we'll be mostly doing the allotment next week.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, having a little tidy up. I love how while we're recording, you are literally looking around for fit guys, aren't you?
Of course I am, Jesus.
But when you see a fit guy, it's not
and
like
fit plants.
You don't go up to them and say, hey, you're a fit guy. You just admire them from a distance.
I'll get a placard.
Yeah, you should. And you should just turn it round when you say you're a fit guy.
So that's great.
What are you doing next week, since you asked me?
some things with Cherry Lane Garden Centre. So filming some really cool little, quite techie stuff about bees, which would be pretty cool. Some grow your own and colour therapy as well, which will be nice. And then after that, I'm going to the Isle of Wight.
That's so
for the
exciting.
Isle of Wight Festival. I'm really excited about that.
I just have
remember going there when I was a kid.
Yay.
But I remember, what is it, Shanklin? That's the Isle of Wight, isn't it? Yeah, Shanklin Chine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it'd be so cool to go back to these places, because I always remember when I was young, I always wanted to go to the Ventnor Botanic Garden.
Okay.
But we never did when I went on holiday with my parents. So now, master of my own destiny.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there hard.
Is it cows? Cows?
Yeah. I'll be staying at cows at the top. Yeah.
Yarmouth, Shanklin. They were the main areas.
Because when you go there, like when you're a kid, and ride with the train goes to the end of the pier or something, and the needles, you know, these white rocks on the
I don't remember.
on the west side.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where you get this coloured sand as well.
Oh yes, the coloured sand, of course. And you put it in, get it in little bottles.
Yeah.
Yay, that's fun.
But also I remember in the middle there was a miniature village called God's Hill.
There was a miniature village.
And the lavender farm. I used to love pamphlets.
You used to love pamphlets?
Well, you know, when you went on holiday when you were younger and there was all leaflets of places you could go, I really loved that moment of like selecting those places.
Do you still
it's really
do that
magical.
now?
No.
Oh, I think you should. You should collect some pamphlets when you get to the hotel.
Oh, true. Oh, God, I'm going to face Jim in a minute, but I'm just thinking, she's going to mess my bloody hair up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to this event tonight.
Oh, well. You can get away with it. When you say mess your hair up, in what way?
Well, because she'll put a headband on me.
Oh, that's okay. You can spruce that back up afterwards.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, you can spring it back up, or you can just ask her to go gentle on the hair.
Yeah.
You've actually had a haircut, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I have one tomorrow, actually.
Oh, the sides look short. Well, the top is long.
Yeah, I'm getting very long, Ellen.
You are.
I have to be careful of the sun today. It's very hot on your face.
What, you don't have SPF on?
I do, but it doesn't last long. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, remember your SPF, gardeners.
We better sign off soon, but
we do.
Happy Pear.
Happy Pear. Oh, he was just so wonderful. He was so jolly. Stephen. Yeah. He was so jolly, and I love what they do as well.
Yeah, really, really interesting, like science behind it all, and they really, it's so nice. It sounds weird, but it's really nice when you talk to someone who really knows what they're talking about.
Absolutely. You know? And basically the message
you don't get that
is
with us.
Eat more plants. No, we just ramble away. Eat more plants. That's the whole point of it, isn't it?
Definitely,
organic as well.
But yeah, also, please leave us a review and let us know what you think of the podcast, because it's really like sometimes you just record it and you forget that people are out there. But
actually listen.
Let us know if you're out there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
I agree. Please let us know.
All right, say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Step into spring with British Garden Centre's Family Card. Our Family Card is a garden centre membership that allows you to receive weekly benefits and discounts on popular products, priority access to tickets for events like our famous Christmas launches, member-only shopping events, exclusive competitions and so much more. To sign up, all you need to do is nip into your local British Garden Centre to pick up a Family Card, and then most importantly, you need to register it online at britishgardencentres.com/family card. Don't forget to scan it every time you shop in-store to be entered into our monthly scan and win competitions. We can't wait for you to join our family.
The music for the Plant-Based podcast is part of the song Grow by Mikey James, and our editor is Gareth Patch of Semi Echo.